What's up, Michigan State fans? This is Jacob Kotznick here back for another episode of the Michigan State Spartans Insider Podcast. This is our podcast for Thursday, January 22nd, 2026. Going to talk some more football with you guys here. Again, transfer portal season pretty much wrapped up now. Maybe you see another commit or two coming in, but for the most part, as far as the roster goes, what you're seeing right now is what you're going to get in 2026. Again, there's no spring window anymore. This is it. There's only one portal window from now until the season starts. And again, now you just kind of glance around the roster. What do you see? What do you like? What do you not like? And one area where, again, where I have the most questions really is the wide receiver room. I wrote about this a little bit ago. I just kind of want to talk about it now a little bit more in podcast form. I do think the biggest part where you're really nervous is the defensive line. I think you have to really like the running back room. I think the offensive line is a lot better on paper, but the wide receiver room is really a mystery to me. A couple different reasons. Again, you're losing your couple different reasons here. Uh, Firstly, you're losing your top two receivers from last year. Dick Marsh is in the transfer portal. Oh, he's not in the transfer portal. He was in the transfer portal. He's going to Indiana, defending national champions. Again, good for him, I guess. But he's going to Indiana. Can't do anything about that now. And Omari Kelly, second wide receiver behind him, he's out of eligibility. So you have to replace those two guys. And as far as a yard to yard, from on a production standpoint, Michigan State definitely did not replace that. They instead, the two transfer portal receivers that they got was two backups from their previous schools. It's not really what I thought MSU would have in mind. Fitzgerald had went out. He spoke, had a kind of an off-podium interview at like the Michigan High School coaches convention a little bit ago, and he said he wanted to see college production from the guys they take out of the transfer portal. And I don't know if the actions really, again, they say actions speak louder than words. This specific point, I think for the most part, he's following through on that at wide receiver. I don't know if he's, if that's necessarily true here, because these are two guys that were not starters at their last school. Again, the two, if you don't know who I'm talking about, two guys who I'm talking about here is Notre Dame transfer KK Smith and Michigan transfer. Again, another interesting part here, Frederick Moore. Uh, these guys have 100. I think Smith has 161 career receiving yards, and Frederick Moore has 160 career receiving yards. So not exactly lighting up the box scores here either. Again, they kind of targeted a few other wide receivers here and there. I think one that was interesting was Yale receiver Nico Brown. He visited a couple weeks ago. I think it was the 8th and the 9th. He visited East Lansing, but as time went on, and he didn't go to East Lansing, you kind of felt he would go elsewhere. On Wednesday, a report he committed to Stanford. He has a brother on that team. That's actually where Brian Lindgren ended up, the former offensive coordinator. He's the quarterbacks coach there as well. But again, a few guys that they did target that did have some productions did not end up committing to Michigan State. For all you know, maybe there's another guy sneaking around back there that they could add at the wide receiver position. Again, the portal's closed, but that's only for new entrants. Guys that are still in the portal who are uncommitted, you can go get out of the portal still. They just might not be able to participate in spring practice, is my current understanding of it with how the NCAA rules work. Then again, I don't really know what rules the NCAA has these days. So, but still, um, again, they lost some depth at the wide receiver position as well. Lost a few guys who were backups in the portal. I think like their two main backups entered the portal as well. Evan Boyd, he entered the transfer portal. He's now going to Iowa State. And on the last day of the portal, Rodney Bullard announced that he was entering the transfer portal. He's still uncommitted as I record this right now. So that's some depth right there that they're losing. So again, they've only taken two wide receivers out of the transfer portal, and they've lost four guys at least. Just off the top of my head, Marsh, Kelly, Bullard, Evan Boyd. They are bringing. I'm trying to think of the wide receivers that are coming in. They've got Rayshon Elmore. I think there's one guy in blank. I'm going to get to Samson Gash in a second. I'm trying to think if they have another wide receiver. I'm sorry. Oh, Zachary Washington. They have Zachary Washington coming in as well. I was just forgetting the name there. But two guys in the high school class. There's also this thing about Samson Gash. That's one that's kind of like the main storyline recruiting wise right now. Can Michigan State get the pen to paper there? Again, if you don't know much about Gash, really, really fast. It's like a 10-4, 100-meter dash type of guy. He's from Detroit. He goes to Detroit Catholic Central. It's more in the Novi area. Um, but he really fast. His brother Caleb is on the team. He was supposed to be one of their top special teams guys this past season. Like he only played in the week 1 game against Western Michigan, did really well in pass coverage. So you can use that as a selling point to be around your brother. But they have to compete with Penn State. I think Samson's dad went to Penn State, and Penn State. Let's be real; they have a bit more prestige than Michigan State. They are in year 1 of their own coach, but again, Matt Campbell's a really, really good coach as well. So a lot to compete with there. We'll see if Michigan State's able to get him, but if are able to get Gash onto the 2026 roster officially, he's expected to sign in February. I wouldn't be surprised if Gash is an instant contributor as a freshman, just kind of looking at his measurables. Uh, and he comes from a family where, success is kind of the standard as far as athletics go. So, but yeah, wide receiver though, but there's some other young guys that could potentially produce. There's Braylon Collier. There is Charles Taplin. Coaching staff seem to be happy with their progress during their true freshman years. They both ended up redshirting. I think Taplin got a catch during that Minnesota game, if I'm not mistaken. But two guys, like just kind of going off the portal activity. I think you're kind of seeing Michigan State is maybe banking on some internal development here. They were able to largely retain all that younger talent, a lot of that, more a lot of the talent that was more on the bottom of the depth chart, and they're hoping that group rises up here. I think that's the main thing that you are seeing right now. I think a lot of people are high in Collier. Taplin, we'll see. But there's also Bryson Williams, but I think Michigan State still needs to kind of decide how they're really going to use him because he's a hybrid running back, a hybrid wide receiver. With all the depth that there is at running back right now, I think that's the deepest position Michigan State really has right now because they've got, let's see, just go off the list: Edwards, Parrish, Patterson, Tullis, Clorizio. Like that's 5 like legitimate. You have Zion Gist as well. You got 5 or 6 legitimate options right there. I don't know how many carries you're truly going to see Bryson Williams get in that backfield. So maybe you're best served to kind of use him as a running back, not a running back, wide receiver, moving forward in this one. But yeah, I think if you had a different wide receivers coach, I'd maybe be a little more worried about it. But Courtney Hawkins, I think, has done good enough at his job now that he kind of deserves the benefit of the doubt. We'll see how good that wide receiver core ends up being. Something I think, I mean, you'll have that earlier on the season. Michigan State plays Notre Dame, so KK Smith will get a chance to go up against his old team where he was the backup, relegated to the bench for the most part. That would be something. See if he can go off there. That would be fun. But yeah, but for Courtney Hawkins, he's been able to develop. He's been able to develop guys for the. That's what he's done. This is going to be his third. It's crazy to think about. It's going to be his third permanent head coach that he's been under. Got hired by Mel Tucker. Jonathan Smith kept him, and now Pat Fitzgerald is keeping him. That's probably a sign that you're doing your job pretty well. So until proven otherwise, I think for the most part you have to feel relatively fine. But still, there's a lot of unknown production that is going to have to spring up here to give quarterback Alessio Milivojevic that boost at QB. So yeah, that just kind of wraps up my thoughts on that. Again, I kind of I wrote my own thoughts on that in text form. If you want to go Google up that one, I'm sure you'll be able to find it. Can't remember exactly what I titled it, but yeah, there's an article on this out there from probably about a week ago or so. But yeah, but still plenty of things going on right now with Michigan State football. Again, they're wrapping up transfer portal. Coaching staff is on the road on the moment, looking at high school recruits, 2027 guys, 2028 guys even. So yeah, lots of things going on still in the football program as always. Basketball still going on. They're off to a great start. I think they're 17-2 now. Hockey, big series against Minnesota coming up. Big Ten race, going to be an emotional weekend. But yeah, gonna have stuff on all of that this coming weekend at SpartanNation.com or at Michigan State Spartans on SI. Thank you very much for listening, though. Whether you're on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or any other streaming platform, thank you very much. Once again, though, I'm Jacob Hatznika. I'll see you guys around.